You know there's something coming down.
Hey everybody, it's the American Patriot from Stars and Stripes Action. You can visit our YouTube channel at the True News Network or visit our website at truenewsnet.com. The video you're about to watch contains actual footage and factual references.
It doesn't matter what the freaking legal and ethics people say. We need to win this mother.
Hillary is aware of all the work that you guys do, I hope.
Campaign is fully in.
What I call this conflict engagement. Conflict engagement in the lines at Trump rallies.
Clinton turns to all of us in America and says, isn't it terrible about the violence that Donald Trump encourages at his events? You have the Clinton campaign that's literally infiltrating these events to try to cause problems at these events, and then the media covers it and reports that Donald Trump's rhetoric is so hateful that it's inciting violence. This is about them going in to try to disrupt Trump rallies. But there's another darker piece to this as well, which is there is this collusion amongst these liberal groups and the Democratic Party and Hillary Clinton to do a lot of things to upset the election. These tapes give us a window into a very dark soul.
We've all seen the footage by now, the pushing, the shoving, the punching even, the police having to intervene at Donald Trump's rally. It was a group of organized thugs using violence to shut down political speech. Saul Alinskyite trained, organized left-wing thug.
Donna, thank you very much for being here. So the people involved in that campaign to incite violence at the Trump rallies and make it, look like Trump supporters were violent when in fact they had been provoked by these folks looking for a fight, say that this was in direct coordination with Hillary Clinton's camp and with the DNC. Scott Foval, the guy caught on tape who's now been fired, said this is how it worked. The Hillary camp pays the DNC. The DNC pays Democracy Partners, our group, who pays the Foval group, and that's the group that quote, executes the expletive on the ground.
Hey, Kelly, that contract, first of all, that contract, based on my knowledge, I became chair on July 28th. The contract that is allegedly being referred to was not signed until June of 2016. I think all that evidence is out there.
Bob Creamer was the head of Democracy Partners. This is one of the groups, he's now been fired. This is one of the groups that committed these acts. He's the man who was at the White House 342 times and met personally, according to the records, with President Obama in some fashion over 40 times. He's now been dismissed, but he's the one saying that there was coordination with the DNC, and this is obviously a very well-connected man. He, too, is a convicted felon, convicted for fraud. This is obviously not an honest person, and yet you were working very closely with him, the DNC. I've said nothing about my feelings. This is about a controversy that has erupted to the point where I wasn't the one who fired these two staffers. The Democrats fired these two staffers. So obviously no one so far has come out to challenge the legitimacy of these particular tapes put out by James O'Keefe. But what about in this case?
But Kelly, can I ask you, we're at a presidential debate. And Donald Trump made several ridiculous claims tonight.
But you're dodging. I hit Donald Trump's representatives with those, but now I have you.
I don't play dodgeball, honey. I play basketball.
None of that breaking news overnight, those violent clashes at Donald Trump's rally in California. You see those protesters there, they attacked Trump supporters just after Trump spoke, and ABC's Tom Llamas was there. He's on the scene now in San Jose. Good morning, Tom.
George, this was one of the most violent scenes I have ever witnessed at a Trump rally. At times, it seemed like the police had no control of the situation. People were getting beat up right in front of them. And these were not clashes. These were pure attacks. Trump supporters, men, women, even the elderly, left this building last night and walked right into danger.
The former DNI, and we all know who he is. This is someone who should know. I want to read what he said just a few weeks ago. But Mr. Clapper then went on to say that to his knowledge there was no evidence of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. We did not conclude any evidence in our report. And when I say our report, that is the NSA, FBI, and CIA, with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between the members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that in our report. Was Mr. Clapper wrong when he said that?
I think he's right.
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
I understand that, but does it exist?
Not to my knowledge.
Can you say definitively that there was collusion? There were people affiliated with the Trump campaign who were working with Russians to time the release of damaging information about Hillary Clinton that had been hacked either from John Podesta or the DNC?
I don't think we can say anything definitively at this point.
Have you seen anything, either intelligence briefings, anything to back up any of the accusations that you've made?
Well, first of all, don't forget that all of our intelligence agencies said yes. They have the documentation that they did the hacking.
The hacking.
On the DNC.
Right.
And on some of us, that have.
But the collusion, though.
No, we have not.
But do you have evidence that there was in fact collusion between Trump associates and Russia during the campaign?
Not at this time.
What's your view on any proof? Have you seen anything that suggests any collusion between the Russians and the Trump campaign?
Well, there's an awful lot of smoke there, let's put it that way. People that might have said they were involved, to what extent they were involved, to what extent the president might have known about these people or whatever. There's nothing there from that standpoint that we have seen directly linking our president to any of that.
When you believe a hostile foreign power engaged in an attempt and with the collusion of the sitting administration.
Well, you don't know that. Hold on, Congressman.
Well, we don't know it.
Congressman, you said with the collusion, there's no evidence that there's collusion.
I'm not saying there was collusion. I'm saying that those meetings indicate that there could be.
Just to be clear, there has been no actual evidence yet.
No, it has not been.
Okay. I just want
no,
to
it has not.
clear.
And I want.
This has been an interesting day at this hearing, listening to Democratic senator after Democratic senator give speeches in praise of the rule of law. And I am heartened by that. I am encouraged by that. Because for 8 years it's been absent.
Anti-Semites and racists and misogynists who support Trump.
The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
And my job is to shut other white people down. My job is to shut other white people down when they want to say, oh no, I'm not prejudiced. My job is to make sure that they get that they have privilege.
But we're closely following the terrible events unfolding in Charlottesville, Virginia. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
Because quite frankly, I don't feel like getting pepper sprayed and tased or beaten by the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter people.
Why are police intervening in the fighting? That's what I want to know. I didn't see her. Yeah, she's on camera. I don't like being filmed. Then leave.
Yeah, he just got struck with pepper spray. By some irrational...
a liberal helping him. We're not all like this.
No, you see, the guy that attacked him is not a liberal. He's a Marxist.
Okay, these are water balloons with a goo-like substance. Do you guys know what the substance is?
It's piss, paint, and mace.
The Antifa just are throwing tear gas canisters.
This guy needs a medic. This guy needs a medic.
The smoke?
On many sides.
Ironically, Donald Trump has been in the public eye for over 40 years. He's never been indicated or implicated as a racist until he decided to run for president. In fact, he'd been on the Oprah Winfrey Show several times, and he was also revered by black community leaders such as Jesse Jackson on several occasions. He's even received awards from the black community for the work he's done there. However, now that he's President of the United States, some Democrats and Republicans, as well as the lamestream media, which no one with half a brain takes seriously anymore, would have you believe that Donald Trump is a racist because he didn't come out and condemn the white nationalists or white supremacists in Charlottesville fast enough or harshly enough. One wonders what would have been enough, perhaps internment camps like they did to the Japanese in World War II. This is just ludicrous. The president is the president for all people. He also recognizes that we have a constitution. Despite what some may think, the First Amendment was not intended to protect popular speech, but unpopular speech. Popular speech needed no protection. These white supremacists or white nationalists, no matter how ignorant their message was, they have a constitutional right to deliver it. And they followed the law. They got a permit, and they marched within the parameters they were supposed to. Now, most of us who don't like a movie or something playing on the radio would change the channel. I don't see many normal people throwing on helmets, grabbing bats and shields and heading down to the radio station or the TV station and starting a riot. A riot which damages are going to be contributed and cost of the taxpayer. Now, to add insult to injury, the mainstream media and the Democrats, and also some Republicans, in a ludicrous fashion, attempt to equate a 50-year-plus law enforcement officer who was elected as sheriff of his state 6 times to a national security leaker and traitor, Chelsea Manning, Mr. Lopez, a terrorist who killed 4 Americans and was responsible for over 50 bombings in New York City, and an array of drug dealers and terrorists that were released by Bill Clinton, President Obama, and of course our President Obama, traded 5 terrorist Taliban leaders for yet another traitor, Bo Bergdahl. He also sent pallets of untraceable cash to Iran. All of this equates to treason and sedition.